Picture two people. Both of them take home $68,000 a year after tax. Same city, roughly the same rent. Neither of them is wealthy, not yet. The first person spends 45 minutes every Sunday evening opening a spreadsheet. They've color-coded it. Green for on track, red for over. They know their monthly grocery average down to the dollar. They set a $180 dining out limit, and every time they approach it, they feel a low-grade anxiety that follows them into the restaurant. They cut subscriptions last year to free up $43 a month. They celebrate small wins. They are, by every external measure, doing the responsible thing. And at the end of each month, after all that vigilance, all that restriction, all that mental overhead, they've managed to set aside, on average, $310. Some months less, some months nothing because something always comes up. They feel perpetually behind, like they're working hard at something and the scoreboard isn't moving. The second person has never built a budget, doesn't know what they spend on groceries, couldn't tell you their subscription total without checking. They've never experienced guilt about a restaurant bill. And yet, right now, today, they have $41,000 in a high-yield savings account. Their Roth IRA is maxed every single year. They carry zero credit card debt. And when an unexpected $2,000 expense hits, car, medical, whatever, they handle it the same day with zero stress because it doesn't even register as a crisis. Same income. 11 years of the same income. One person has $3,700 saved, the other has $41,000 invested and growing. The difference is not discipline. The disciplined one is the budgeter. They prove it every Sunday. The difference is not income. The difference is not luck. The difference is that one of these people understood something about how money actually moves that the other person was never taught. And what they understood is so simple and so obvious once you see it that it will make you genuinely angry that nobody said it to you sooner. I'm going to show you exactly what that is. My name is Steve, and this is Invest with Steve. But before we go any further, if this is the kind of conversation you've been looking for, the one that stops treating you like you need basic motivation and starts treating you like someone who deserves to understand how the system actually works, subscribe right now and leave a comment below. Tell me where you are. Are you the disciplined budgeter who still feels like the number never moves? Or have you never tracked a dollar in your life and you can't explain why you're somehow okay? Drop it below. I read every single one. Now, here is the thing that the personal finance industry will never say publicly because their entire product ecosystem depends on you not knowing it. A budget is a reactive tool. Think about what that means at the mechanical level. Money arrives in your account, your brain registers it as available, and then after it's already sitting there, accessible, spendable, you attempt to allocate it using willpower, categories, and guilt. That is the sequence. Earn, receive, restrain. That sequence has a fatal flaw buried inside it. The moment money is sitting in an account you can access, your brain has already classified it as a resource, not a groceries resource or a savings resource, just a resource. And your nervous system responds to resources the same way it has for 100,000 years of human evolution, by making them available for immediate problems, immediate desires, and immediate emotional states. The budget is a mental override you're attempting to apply on top of a biological system that was never designed to be overridden that way. This is why the budgeter fails, not because they're weak, because they're asking willpower to do a job that architecture should be doing. And willpower is the worst possible tool for that job. It's expensive, it depletes across the day, and it fails at exactly the moments when the pressure is highest, when you're tired, when you're stressed, when something emotional just happened, when your body is producing cortisol and your prefrontal cortex is running at reduced capacity. That is precisely when the impulse purchase happens. That is precisely when the dining budget gets blown. That is precisely when the credit card comes out. Not because you're irresponsible, because willpower was never designed to be a financial strategy. Now here is where it gets darker than most people want to sit with, because the budgeting industry is not the only system that benefits from keeping you inside this cycle. The entire consumer credit architecture, banks, card networks, retail financing, is built on one single mathematical dependency. The gap between your income ceiling and your consumption floor must never become large enough to make you financially independent. Let me say that again. The banks need you to spend close to what you earn. Not all of it, they don't want you broke, they can't extract from someone with nothing, but close, within reach. They need the gap to stay small. Here's how they guarantee it. When your income increases, every system around you is designed to immediately raise your consumption floor to match. You got a raise. Your card company quietly increases your credit limit. Your car dealership sends you a pre-approval for a higher-priced vehicle. Your social environment upgrades around you and you feel the pull to keep pace. Your streaming services add tiers. New restaurants open in your neighborhood. The apartment above yours lists at a higher price point. The signal everywhere is that you earn more now, which means this level of spending is appropriate for you now. Economists call this hedonic adaptation. The financial industry calls it their business model. And it works with devastating consistency on people who never built a wall between their income and their lifestyle before the pressure started.
The people who never budget and always seem to have money built that wall first, before the lifestyle had a chance to adjust. That is the entire secret. Not discipline after the money arrives, architecture before the money is ever seen. Here is exactly what that architecture looks like and how you can build it regardless of where you are right now. The first and most critical move is what I call the first touch transfer. The day your paycheck deposits, not the day after, not when you get around to it, the same day. A preset automatic transfer fires. A fixed percentage of that deposit moves immediately into accounts that are structurally separated from your spending money. Different institution, no debit card attached, transfer delays built in. The money doesn't just move to a savings account at the same bank where you can sweep it back in 30 seconds. It disappears from your spending reality. Your brain never registers it as available because by the time you open your banking app, it's already gone. The percentage you start with matters less than the permanence of the habit. If you can only automate 7% right now, automate 7%. But here is the rule that changes the trajectory permanently. Every single time your income increases, your savings rate increases before your lifestyle does. The raise hits your account, the automatic transfer percentage adjusts upward first. Your consumption floor doesn't move until the architecture has already captured the gain. Your lifestyle never sees the raise. The raise goes straight into the structure. Do this consistently across 10 years of a normal career, and the numbers become almost irrational. Someone who earns $60,000 at 28, grows to $85,000 by 38, and applies this rule at every step, never letting their lifestyle expand faster than their savings rate, will have accumulated, conservatively, somewhere between $280,000 and $340,000 by the time they're 40, without a single budgeting session, without tracking a single grocery receipt, without a spreadsheet that has ever been color-coded in their life. The second piece of the architecture is account separation with intentional friction. Most people have their checking, savings, and investment accounts at the same institution, linked, seamlessly transferable in under a minute. This feels convenient. It is financially catastrophic because the ease of access means the structural separation doesn't exist in any real psychological sense. When the money is one tap away, it isn't protected money. It's just money in a different folder. Move your wealth building accounts to a different bank. A high-yield savings account at an institution with a 2 to 3 day transfer window, a Roth IRA or brokerage account that requires intentional action to withdraw from. Create real distance. Physical, temporal, psychological between your spending account and your future. When the access is hard, the money stays. Not because of discipline, because the path of least resistance now runs toward leaving it alone. The third piece is something I call the income lag rule. This one is behavioral, but it's enforced by structure rather than willpower. The rule is that your lifestyle is only permitted to expand 12 months after an income increase, and only by a fixed ceiling, never the full amount of the raise. When you get a raise in March, you are not allowed to upgrade anything until the following March. And when that window opens, you may direct a maximum of 30% of the raise toward lifestyle improvement. The remaining 70% goes into the architecture. This sounds like restriction. It is the opposite of restriction. It is the mechanism that converts income growth into freedom rather than into a higher cost version of the same financial anxiety you already have. The person who violates this rule, who upgrades the apartment the month the raise clears, has simply purchased a more expensive version of financial stress. The rent is higher now. The margin is the same. The anxiety is identical, just with better furniture surrounding it. The fourth piece requires you to look at something most middle-class earners have never examined directly: the true cost of the financial products being sold to you as rewards. The travel credit card with the 60,000-point sign-up bonus, the cashback card that gives you 3% on dining and 2% on groceries, the store card that offers 15% off your first purchase. These are not gifts, they are products with a business model. And the business model works like this. The card network knows from a century of behavioral data that cardholders who are engaged with rewards programs spend between 12 and 18% more per month than they would with a debit card or cash. The rewards you're earning are funded, at least in part, by the incremental spending the program engineered you to do. You are not winning the rewards game. You are the product the rewards game was designed to produce. The miles you accumulate are not free. They are a rebate on the premium you paid in elevated consumption. Some people beat this system, the ones who charge only pre-planned expenses, pay in full monthly, and treat the card as infrastructure rather than spending permission. But the data says most people don't. The data says most people end the year having spent more than they would have otherwise, and the rewards didn't cover the difference. The no-budget accumulator either avoids these products entirely or uses them with the same cold mechanical detachment a business applies to vendor contracts. The card is a tool with terms. It doesn't generate emotion. It doesn't feel like earning. It's just infrastructure, and the moment it starts changing behavior, it gets removed from the wallet. Now here's the deepest level of this, the layer underneath all the mechanics, and it's the reason why some people apply every tactic I just described and still struggle, while others seem to absorb this architecture naturally and hold it without effort. It comes down to what you believe wealth actually is.
Most people were raised with an implicit definition of wealth that equates it with visible accumulation. The house, the car, the wardrobe, the vacations that photograph well. In this definition, wealth is something you display. And if you operate from that definition, every dollar that moves into an investment account is a dollar that isn't performing its social function. It isn't visible. It isn't signaling. It's just sitting there being quietly, invisibly powerful in a way that the people around you will never see or acknowledge. The people who build real wealth on normal incomes have a different definition. To them, wealth is not what you own. Wealth is what you can choose. Can you leave the job that is slowly eroding your health? Can you take 3 months off without a financial crisis? Can you move cities for the right relationship, the right opportunity, the right quality of life, without being trapped by a consumption floor that requires your current income to survive? Can you say no to things that pay well but cost you something more important than money? That capacity to choose, to move, to say no, to act from strength rather than need, that is what wealth actually is. And it is only available to people who built the margin, the gap between what they earn and what they require. Everything else, the investing, the compounding, the financial freedom that people talk about in abstract terms, all of it is downstream of that gap. The budgeter is trying to protect the gap with a spreadsheet. The no-budget accumulator protected it with architecture before the lifestyle could see it. Go back to those two people at the start. Same $68,000, one with $3,700, one with $41,000 and a funded retirement account. The person with $41,000 didn't sacrifice more. They didn't earn more. They didn't have more information about investing. They made one structural decision earlier: to move their money before their lifestyle could see it, and that decision compounded quietly, invisibly, for 11 years, while the other person was color-coding a spreadsheet that never moved the number. You don't need to track everything. You need to capture the right things first. Automate the wealth. Defend the gap. Spend the rest without guilt. That is the entire architecture.
And the system fighting against you, the credit products, the consumption anchoring, the raise to lifestyle pipeline, it only works on people who are still trying to win with willpower. Once the architecture is in place, there's nothing left for the system to extract. The money is already gone, already working, already compounding somewhere it can't be reached by an impulse, an upgrade cycle, or a rewards program engineered to make spending feel like earning. That's the game. I'm Steve. This is Invest with Steve. Subscribe if you want the next one, because next we're getting into exactly how the lending system prices your financial anxiety back to you, and what the people who opt out of that pricing know that you don't. See you there.